thank you very much indeed for wanting to know something more about this house. And I'm the one that actually was, to a large extent, responsible for this. And you need to know the reason why, perhaps. I'm an ex-sailor, and we had a 71-foot ocean racing ketch once, and we did 24,000 miles almost sailing around the world. And my family and I, that's my wife Trina, our son Andy, and Tessa and Karina, really got on so well on board this vessel that we thought to ourselves, gosh, perhaps we could actually design a house so that it would be a little bit like a boat, that it would be a smaller space, and that we would be able to live and work well together. And quite frankly, when I look out at marvelous views like the one that we have here, I think to myself, it won't take too long if we have huge homes before we've covered the whole lot. Instead of having wonderful fertile soil and great food coming out of that soil, we're just going to have lots and lots of houses. And so we wanted to be able to make a statement by bringing in our boundaries and living within a smaller space, but living creatively. If you're going to live in a picture frame, make the picture the best you possibly can. Well, this started out with a wonderful set of architects, and they're really people on Stanwood. And Dan was our architect, and Dan also loved the idea of living in a smaller space. And with Dan, we spent 20 months of actual planning, sitting around and going over everything inch by inch. He was enormously helpful to me as we looked at 71-foot long boat. This is a 72-foot long house, 18 foot on the beam, and flat decks. But then after that, you start to think outside the box. So let's go back a little bit and have a look around. Whilst the thing was still visual, we'd made our decisions, but then we started to actually plan the thing, and with our builder, Bruce, we're beginning to start to put the sticks up and start to wrap it around. Very exciting to see that. I'm a Christian, and we decided that what we should do is consecrate, which is a word meaning to set apart, the house, and that God would be pleased with what took place in it. We had our pastor come, and we dug a hole. We took the Bible, we opened it up at the love chapter and 1 Corinthians 13, and set it down there, opened it up. So that right there at the doorway, people, when they walked across, might not know anything about that, but we knew something about it. We knew what that would mean for us when people arrived and came for some hospitality. Okay, well, let me show you around first of all. And since you're watching this on television, this is what happens with regard to television. We like to hide it. So being this screen just comes on when we want to be able to watch it, so we just hang a picture over the top of that, picture of your choice perhaps. Open fireplace. This is a marvelous piece of teak, stripped out of jungle teak, and this is the actual bark. You can see the grain of the wood, and as it comes to the outside, this is the actual exterior of a piece of jungle teak, solid teak top with a gas stove here on the top. Here we've got this rather strange half shape here. We wanted to get the shape of the outside of a boat, but without going into one huge window all the way around. It stops, and up above it gives you a kind of flying bridge feeling. The whole of the paneling of the ceiling is done in stripped planks, as in the old boats that you would have that done. Now, if you come over here and look at the length of the companionway, the whole idea behind this, you'll see all the lights in the ceiling, was that you would get a great focal distance. There's about 67 feet long here, and it gives you a sense of distance. You don't feel that you're being contained in a very small space. When people come in, there's a nice little bathroom here, which is the guests' the guest's head, so to speak, with a little neat, sorry Mike, they can hang their coats up in this space here. And then this is my wife Trina's a poet, and she's also produced 1,800 of our television shows. So you can imagine Trina is an artistic person. So she would have her computer here. This is northern light. She loves to paint as well, and found this was beautiful because you could walk straight out onto the deck. And we call these docks, by the way, rather than decks. If you come out here, you'll see that they wrap all the way around the house, and it's just wonderful to be out here in the summer, actually at any time of the year, just to take a breather when you're being creative. You can just walk straight out in the sun and look at that fantastic view. Good. Well, and this can easily become a bedroom with the removal of that modular issue there and a bed placed in here, it'd be fine. It has a walk-in dressing room, if you like, all cedar lined. So that has lots of space and well designed from a modular point of view. Trina really enjoyed that and seemed to fill it up quite well. Okay, through here is a little bathroom. And so imagine for a moment if this was on a first-class liner, and you were to think that this facility, this is what we were trying to think of here. Again, you get this moving fluid shape around the outside, and this really nice dressing table. In here, a shower, and a loo, and that's it. You know, quite small and compact, but really quite useful. Whoops. Wonderful. Okay, come along. Let me show you where although this is odd when you think about coming into the front area to a house, and here's the clothes washing department, but that's the way it moved. Here's a German Bosch top and bottom design, and here's a place where all of your bottles and things can go nice and neatly and out of this. Again, just the right amount of space. There's an ironing board built into the wall. Now, one thing just before we leave this, when you come in, you will notice that there is what we call the side boarding ladder. And that is, you come down through here, it's all done for wheelchair access. Come through here, but it's at a different angle. It's an odd angle. And if you look behind here, what we've got is this wall is not at 90 degrees. It's set off about 20 degrees. So 90 degrees would be straight through there, and it's that amount of an angle. The reason for that is so that when you come in, you have this real sense of space. Over here, this is our pride and joy. This is a specially designed table, and very similar to the one that I had on the Ocean 71. And this one is designed so that you can bring the top. It's all bird's eye maple, and it's original wood. That these slides go in. You release a little weld nut here, and then you can wheel this one down. And what happens? You wind up having had dinner. You then wind up being able to sit around a coffee table, all right? So, and we designed this for 6 people so that you just pull this forward and turn this couch around, and that sits there, and then you can have a marvelous discussion after you've finished having dinner in the same spot. Now, if you'll notice up in the ceiling, we've got seven lights. And those lights are adjustable, infinitely adjustable on this control panel right here by the side. What we do here, each one of those lights lights up just your plate. It's focused to do that, so that you have 6 people and a 7th person. And the 7th person can be inviting someone who would normally not have dinner with you, somebody who would normally be left out. Maybe somebody who'd recently been widowed and is feeling very much alone, and that you could invite them to become part of your table fellowship. It's really fun. Okay, here we have an opening into the kitchen so that you can chat with people at the same time that you're doing it, but we have enough space here to prevent you from seeing all the stuff going on here. So you can talk to them and the stuff is happening away from the screen. This one is an on and off flat control surface, and they're very fast. They come up to speed very quickly. It's really a fun way of keeping absolute cleanliness too, in that you can spill something over and wipe it off. It's really just marvelous. I've really enjoyed it. This is the cooking at sea routine. These are designed so that you have no square edges. And this is a Lazy Susan top and bottom, which is mirrored with the one on this side as well. So all of your cookware and other things can be set, and they've got plenty of space for that. And we also have nice pull-out drawers, which can also be very helpful from a cookware point of view. And the regular things that you would normally expect. This is what you don't expect. This thing here is to put on display all of the bottles that you would normally use, the wine bottles and olive oils and vinegars and everything else like that, so that you can just go to it and immediately get it. It isn't hidden in a cupboard somewhere. Right here is the spice rack. And the spice rack here is enough spices to be able to hold 250 different spices. There aren't, of course, 250 different spices, but one tends to collect these sort of things, and it's just a marvelous way of being able to stand back and say, well, let's see, a little rosemary perhaps would be rather nice in that scone mixture, you know. And then perhaps I'll add a little allspice to that, just a sort of flicker of an interest. That's the case. That's what I do. This is an artist will paint with a palette, and I paint with spices. Okay, welcome to the master bedroom. And the master bedroom is really part of the companionway because we wanted the distance. On the left here, you will find is all of the cupboards. This is a cedar cupboard, and it has a lot of space top and bottom with lights that come on automatically as you open. Huge under thing. If we can just get that drawer and pull that drawer out. Let me there. So you think about the amount of space that you've got for storage. You'd never need to have a mini storage unit. You could actually move backwards and forwards from side to side and make you think that you are actually at sea. Before we go upstairs, have a look at this. This is really quite a pantry. All of these various levels, and to store at the high place as well, plenty of storage space, and the deep freeze would normally go down the end there. So quite a small galley itself, but when you add the pantry in as well and the space between the two, it's really quite a lot. Okay, upstairs. Now this took quite some doing because this had to be, the home was built at the beginning, and then this is one piece was lowered in from the top. An amazing process, and it had to be galvanized all in one go, in one metal bath. And so that had to be done in Seattle, so it had to be trucked up here. And I think people were all quite odd about, I wonder what that is all about. These steps are all fashioned in the same bamboo material that the whole floor is done in as well. So come on up. We did have the idea of putting a wooden rail over the top of this, but it got enormously expensive, and we had this great idea that you might like. A nice fat rope just sewn onto the top here and then varnish it. Varnished hemp rope like this would look really nautical and look pretty neat. Okay, this was my office, and I designed this. I've written about 11 of my books I have written on this one. This simply is a piece of furniture because the whole desk comes straight out from the wall. It's on a cantilever, so you can take that out if you like, and it's got this amazing floating, huge looking butcher's block which floats here. There's steel that runs underneath that. You can watch what the weather's doing on this pattern. We've got a large bookcase with the maps of Puget Sound region and up to Alaska, which we've done. And look, if you will, at the moment at the trusses here. The whole of this building is designed for a force 9 earthquake. We're not really looking forward to it, but if it does happen, this house will stand. And the whole thing we wanted to do was to over-design everything. Every single part that you can no longer see of this house was designed from a structural point of view to be able to withstand a good shaking. So there it is, lots of place for books and references and an absolute stunning view. And we wanted to be able to look out over the top of the railing. So normally if a house would be down a few steps like this and you'd be looking at part of the railing, but this one looks out over the top of it. We've also designed the outside of this space here, both here and at the back, gives you about 1,800 square feet of garden space. And the roof has been designed to be able to take the weight of a garden that would be put up here as grow boxes and the various things, whatever you could think of doing. Imagine coming up here on a lovely warm evening in the summer and being surrounded by perfume plants. Fabulous. Okay, come on. Well, here it is, you see. This is what could be developed now. And a garden here looking out over the rockery here. And there's so much marvelous stuff that could be done in this rockery. The lavenders are growing up nicely. But boy, can you imagine the burst of colors and everything else that you can get in the summer with that as a rockery? It's this interesting characteristic. Dan Nelson's favorite flow line is that roof there. It's that arch process. If you'll see here too, the robust nature of all the gutterings and the through pipes, that's the kind of structure that we've got. I wanted to get the old-fashioned sailing ship cockpit covers, you know, that they used to have, but that was just, they'd leak. So this became an alternative design. Come over here and see what it feels like to be on a flying bridge. I once went round the world on the QE2 and the Cunard liner, and they used to have, going through the Panama Canal, they had these abutments on either side, a kind of flying bridge on the side of the vessel, where they would look down. There's only 6 inches clearance on each side for going through the Panama Canal for such a large vessel. So you can imagine the guys up here going left a bit, right a bit. It's kind of dicey business. But that was it. One other thing, that just a small thing. This engineering here, these were specially designed to be able to make this task of holding this in properly and having a proper rubbing rail, a proper handhold, rather like a liner would have. What you're seeing now is over towards the north part of Puget Sound. You've got Camano, Whitby Island, and then Lacona, across all of the tulip fields of Skagit Valley. You have Anacortes in the far ground, and then all the way over to one's right, you have Lummi Island, which is that, it gives you a 178-degree view. And whilst we're at the view, can I just point out that there are these naked trees at the bottom of the garden? We planted those on 9/15 after 9/11, and they're blood red maples. And what happens with them around September each year, all the leaves start to turn red and fall. And we wanted to have a walk where you would walk around the garden and through a walkway of blood red maples at the time of 9/11 as a remembrance. The mound in front of the trees is planted with 27 varieties of blooming flowers, blooming plants that deer will not eat. And there's frequent migration of a whole family of deer that come through here, pretty well every day in season. And you'll see all the way around here, there are PowerPoints. So one there, another one there, another one there, all the way around the area. And they're designed for the Christmas lights and also to run other smaller accent lights when the garden has been developed in this region as well. That was the idea behind that. And it's plumbed up here as well, by the way. The water's up here, both hot and cold water exterior, so that you can wash up and do the rest of the thing. Okay? Good. Well, that's almost it. Come on downstairs again. Obviously, the garage is a structure which is large enough easily for 2 cars. Plus, we put in here a good cushioned area so that you would be able to use this exercise spot. We had a electric walker here, and that has plug-in holes for it. There's a set over there for a television behind you if you must watch television at the same time as exercising. As I said, there are plenty of room for 2 cars in here as well, and nice big round windows which gives an accent to the area. Come on, we'll just get back by the fire. It's a little chilly today. The entire house is wired not just with all of these lights, and there are many lights, but also for DSL computers as well, both in my wife Trina's office and also upstairs in that one as well. Just one thing to show you before we say goodbye, and that is, this is a famous brand of toffee, English toffee, and as you see, they're empty. They're called Nonsuch, and we've called this cottage Nonsuch Cottage after the famous Henry VIII. That's the 16th century King of England, Henry VIII. He designed a thing called Nonsuch Palace, and this is Nonsuch Palace here. And what he wanted to do was to have the absolute palace. Nobody would ever have a palace like it, to out-palace every palace. This is the exact opposite of that. We wanted to have a cottage, not that would outdo anybody else's cottage, but a place where you could live your life and enjoy your friends and have the minimum space to be able to heat and cool and care for wow, you know, just like a great condominium looking out over Central Park would be about this size. And so we've lived here and thoroughly enjoyed it. The only reason why we've decided to quit this and go up is because we really feel that we're supposed to go out and lecture and teach and spend all our lives, the rest of our lives if we possibly can, doing just that. So we're very peripatetic people and out and going for it all the time. I hope if you do decide to come to live here that you'll be as happy as we have been here. God bless you.